Hello everyone, today I would like to share the data archive function in this Excel. That is the recently I developed and made in this Excel. All those functions developed by a VBA code. So the basic function of this Excel, that is the row number 6, this line, all those data are live data. That means this data connecting the OPC client or connecting from other sources. I used this index number as a trigger event. So once this index number change, all the data in this row 6 will shift to this archived table, and all the existing data will shift one line after. For example, if I enable this archive function, so for example, I change the data to here, and once I change the index number from 53 to 54, all the data in this row will copy to the row 10, and all the existing data will shift one line after. So for example, if I change 54, so we can see all those data shift one line after. And if I press this button, disable this archive. So if this data change, from this time, if I change this value, hit enter, the data won't shift. So with these two buttons, enable and disable, they can control if the data on this line can be shifted and copied to this line. And another function, if we press this save as file, so the Excel data will save the as to a folder. The archived path will programmed under this button. That's programmed by a VBA code. And the file name will attached with the date and the time. So that means if we manually press this button or use a trigger to trigger the save as function, for example, every day we can save it as one file. So basically, you can use this simple Excel to archive the data. So in this video, I will show a couple VBA functions. First one, that is a date change trigger function. And with the data trigger function, we will call the data copy function, copy this line to this line. The number two, I will show how we can use the button function. How we can use the button enable this copy and disable this copy. Third, I will show how we can use the button save as your file, and when you save as this file, the file will attach with the date and the time. That is the three important functions I would like to show in this video. Firstly, I write the title on the row 2 and write the column title on row 5, and all the data on the row 6, they are test data here. Those data can be connected with the OPC client using the DDE function. The data can be read from the other sources. And from the row 10, this area will be used to store the archived data. The event to trigger the function to copy the row 6 to the row 10, and all the existing lines shift one line after, that triggered by this data change here. So the first things we need to know how we can use the data change trigger. So let's go to the VBA programming environment. Right-click on this sheet 1 and click this view code. And because all function is in this sheet 1, so we will develop the code on this sheet 1. And after that, we select the worksheet here and select the trigger function. Select this, change, delete this. So this subfunction will be triggered when the column or the cells in the Excel got a change. Let's firstly write a text. So this is a message box. So this target.address will show which cell got a change. So this will be used for a test in the initial step. And after this, we will write if not. After this, we will write if not application dot intersect range from B5 to B6. If the B6 change, because this we can set a range here. So if the B6 change, and if our change is within this range, so it will call a subfunction named copy date to record. And after this, I will set up one subfunction. Firstly, I will temporarily make a dim here to declare. So we firstly test this message function. So we save this. Watch this. So to save the file with this feature, click the No and then choose the micro enabled. So we will select the No. Otherwise, it will shift to a micro free. Once we close this Excel, your code won't be saved. So we should select a No. When we save the Excel file, we need to select the Excel markdown enabled workbook. Click the Save. And from now, if I change the value on the B6, for example, I change to fix 6, so it will pop up the address where it got changed. So it shows a B6 got a change. Right? And that time, so once it's got changed, it will call this sub-program named copy date to record. And in this copy date to record, we will program copy this line to this area. And before we copy it, we will shift to the existing lines to one line after. Firstly, we will declare some tags here. And for the buffer length and the index number, I will give some initial value for here. So this buffer length means how long this buffer will be. For example, we will start from the row 10 and it will end on the 30. The whole length, that is 20 rows. So we change the background to a gray. And after this, so this area will shift one line after. So from the bottom line, so this line will copy the data to this line. The line above will copy the data to the line after. So firstly, we will shift the data and leave the top one, prepare for the latest data copy to here. Use this for. And next, we will use this from B6 to E6 copy to the B10 to E10. So this is the copy. That means copy the latest data. And from here, we can make a message here. We say new live data come in. Okay. So we save the code and let's test that. So this time, if I change this value from 56 to 57, and once I hit this, so we can see, so this line will copy the data to this line. But from here, we see that when this line copy to this line, other than the value, actually is also copy the format to here. So this depends on your application. If you want to copy the format from this line to this line, the current dot copy use a range dot copy, that's work. But if you only want to copy the cell, maybe an easier way, that is use this. just use the sales copy, use it this way to do a simple cell to cell copy. So that's why I basically want to show the two different ways. So the first way, that is the dot copy, and second way, I will just copy the value. But because we just copy the value, for example, the data and the time on this line, that format. So that format is this style. So if we just copy the data rather than the format, so we need to manually format your cell. Maybe some friends will ask how this time I can make. So you just type in equal now bracket. Every time the Excel gets updated, this date and time will change. Okay. And the second way we will use, I will make this line as a common. And so we will use a slow way to do that. We copy the column by column, but it's very straightforward. So you can clearly see that, oh, we copied the 6th row, the number 2 column, and copy this data to the row 10, column 2. So we copy this line, we copy this column, we copy this cell to this cell, and totally we copy 4 cells here. So let's save and test that. And we can also test if this data can be shifted after. So for example, if I change 58, so we can see the message show up, the new lab data came in, and the one existing 57, that line shifted here, and the new line copy here. Let's test one more. For example, I read 100, data 100, and I change this data to 59. So hit enter, so we can see the latest data fills in, and all the existing data shift one line after. Currently, our core function is done. So once your online data index number is changed, so the data can be shifted to here, and you can leave a long table to archive, to store your archived data. And this index number can be use a counter in your PLC. Your PLC can add this value, and this value got changed. So the Excel will got a trigger to archive this data to here, and all the existing data shift one line after. So the next question I would like to show, once this table is full, once the new data come here and got a new trigger, so the data in the bottom line will be covered from this line above. So that's why we need to save as this file to another path and leave this current Excel as an interface. So how to make the button use a manual trigger to save as this file? Firstly, we need to enable this developer add-on. So to enable this developer, we go to the File, go to Option, and then we go to the Customizer ribbon and check this box, Developer. Once it's checked, hit OK, you will see the developer showing here. And to create one button, we click this Insert and click this ActiveX control, click this button. Let's draw a button here. And after this button named Command Button 1, and we can rename that. Click this Properties, and we can rename this caption name. For example, Save As, right? Other than this caption, this is just the button name, but for the VBA code, it will still use this command button 1 for this button actual name. We can leave this comment button 1 here just for showing this difference. So we close it, and you can double click. Once you enable this design mode, once we double click, jump to this development environment. So once you double click, it will automatically create this sub command click event subprogram here. So you can see the VBA still uses command button 1. That's the actual logic name for this button. Okay. So to save as this file, let's firstly declare two tags. One is we declare a path as a string, one is the file name as a string. We give the value to this path string value, and this path, that is the file archived path, and this path will save that directory of our archived Excel file. The archive file will go to the C test folder, and the Excel name, we will rename that Excel_archive. And because we will save a lot of Excel file, only this name is not enough. We also need to attach the date and the time after this name. We can save as many Excels that Excels won't be covered and overrode. So to define the attached date, we will name the file name and format that cstring now will use the current system time, and this define what the format of that system time. And after this, we will use this function, archived workbook. Currently, our Excel, that is a workbook, archived workbook.SaveAs. And we will use this file name. Oh, because here we already use this file name, so we use the file name 1 and the file name 1. So the actual file name will combined by this path plus this file name 1. So the path is this. This is the actual file name will be attached with the date with this format. The extension, that is Excel. And with this, so with this read-only recommend equal to true, if someone open this archived Excel, so around here it will pop up the yellow bar. So usually for the archived Excel, we just want to read only this file. So that's why I put a read-only recommended equal to true. Currently, if we double click this button, because this design mode is enabled, so once you double click this button, it will pop up this development environment. So to enable this button function, we disable this design mode. So at this time, if I hit this button, it will save the file under this directory. So let's try. If I hit this save as, so we can see the new Excel file will come up. So if we change this value, for example, change to 60, okay, this message pop up and we got a new value 60, right? And I hit the save as. So it will save as a new file with a date and a time. So if I open this old file, for example, so it will pop up, do you want to read only? So yes, we want to read only. So that is the to file. This one is the old file. The left side is the new one. So we can see this is the archived Excel file by Save As button. And the next things I want to show is, so because this line is keeping changing, so sometimes you might not want this data override this line continuously. Sometimes you want to disable this copy function. kind of like a pause or freeze, right? So we need one enable and disable function here. Enable the copy and shift. I'll disable this copy and shift. So the same way we can do insert and drag a button here. So this time, properties, we will name this button Enable Archive, right? And this time, let's rename this button name Enable Archive. Oh, it doesn't like the space here, so Enable Archive. So double click, so we can program the code within here. So once we press this Enable Archive, it will execute the code here. So firstly, let's create one global tag within this sheet. We declare one public tag, and that name is archived enable. We declare that as an integer. Once we click this button, we want to write this archive enable to number 1. That means we enable this archive function. So other than this, we also want to change the color on this button. That means when the archive enable equal to 1, we want to change this button to green. It can indicate to the user, say, currently that archive function is enabled. So to change the button background color, we will use this. So this button named enable archive dot color. Dot bike color. We will change a color code. To find this color code, we can search the Google. You can search this website, and here it shows the different color code we will use. For example, the gray color, we will use the color code 240, 240, 240, and this code is this. And for the green, the color code we will use is this green color code. Back to here, so once it's archived enabled, we will change to green. So that color code is this. We can write a comment that is a green color. And same way, we will create a one disable archive. So once we press this disable button, we write the 0 to this archive enable and change the background color on this enabled archive button. Change this enable archived its background color to gray. And this is a gray color. Okay, so these two buttons can control this tag, and we will use this tag control the data shifting and the data copy function. So we go to this copy date to record this area. We add an if function here. Before this for, we put if this enable equal to 1, then So if this archive enable is true, so then we do this for. We do this for loop plus this copy. So we tape this line and from here we put a and if, right? So with this if and if, so that means once this button enabled equal to true, equal to 1, so we do a for loop and copy function. So let's test that. Press save and go to the run mode. We can save now. So currently, by default, if it's not enabled, if I change this value to 61, the data won't change. It shows a new data came in, but however, it doesn't run the copy function. If I enable this button, it turns green. So this time, if I change the value 62, the data will shift. It will show a new data came in, right? And I will try it again, write 63, change again. So it will shift one more data here. If I disabled and if I write 64, it won't change. So the message still shows that because if we go to the code, we message is outside of this if. So we can currently disable that message. So enable, we read the data, it will do shift. If I disabled, if I write this data, it won't shift. So basically that is a one switch. We can turn on, turn off this copy function. And if I hit this save as, the Excel will archive to the folder. So we can see that is the latest file. It just archived. If we open, it will ask me if I need to read only. Yes, I will just read only. So that is the archived Excel that has a latest file here. Okay, so that's all. So to quickly wrap up, so in the Excel, in this VBA code, we use the data change trigger. We use this worksheet change and use this application intersect, use this function, get the trigger. And once it's get the trigger, it will call this subprogram. So in this subprogram, we programmed the looping for loop to shift the data to one line after. After the shifting, so we copy the latest data to the top. And also, we create a Save As button. The Save As button, we define the file name 1 and the path. This, based on your application, you can define the path by 1, and the file will attach with the date and the timestamp here. We use the ActiveWorkbook.SaveAs, use this, and define the actual file name. And other than this, we also create an enable and a disabled. So basically, I would like to show how we can create a button and use the button to trigger or enable or write some value under this button. So we create an archive enable function. Also, I showed how we can change the button color and how we can find the color code from the website. So this is the key functions in this Excel.
Thank you for watching. If you like this video, please give me a thumb up. If you like to watch more videos in my channel, please subscribe. See you in next video.